Hey guys, John here, Big John TV. Today we got a cooking demo for you. This is a beef tri-tip, untrimmed, in the bag. It was on sale at my grocery store. It was about 11 bucks for this roast. I'm going to show you what I do to it and how I prepare it and how I cook it. So first off, right out of the package, you see it's got a pretty good chunk of fat. Fat is flavor, but too much is gross. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to start trimming off any of the bigger sections of fat. Again, I'm not going to get it all. I'm just going to take the thick stuff and kind of trim it down. If it's stringy like this, that's not good. We don't need that in there. It's not going to provide anything. All right, flipping it over, I'm going to switch tools. This is called a quick trim. It's got a nice little sharp blade to it, and basically all you do is stick it onto the fat and pull towards, and it just peels it. It works really well. We'll leave the link below. You guys check them out. It just peels that fat right off, and I can take this one and get back to the edge there and pull it off. And you see, tri-tip's it's got this layer, almost like a skin, on top of the fat, and that's really not good eating. So we'll pull that off. We'll save all the fat for sausage making. This knife works really good. That's a cool tool. I like that one. And then just come back through, just a quick little clean up the edges there. Alright, so for this recipe today, I was going to try and make something out of a cookbook and get all fancy, but you know what? That's not me. I buy product from the stores. This is called Suzy Q Santa Maria style seasoning. You can't really see it. I got it wrapped up in saran wrap so I can touch it with my raw fingers and not contaminate it. This one's, you can find this one anywhere. McCormick's Grill Grates Montreal Steak. These are my two go-to flavor profiles for beef. Tri-tip. They work really good. We're keeping it simple. It's salt, it's pepper, it's a little bit of herbiness, garlickiness, but that's it. So at this point, this one will go on first. And it's just a light dusting on both sides. So for those of you that don't know, Santa Maria style tri-tip is the traditional method of cooking tri-tip in the flavor profiles. They're referring to Santa Maria, California, Central Coast, where supposedly that's where this cut of beef and this style of cooking was originated. They're the ones that started it. So Santa Maria style and tri-tip cooking in general is pretty much a California thing. You're welcome. Okay, then I'll switch to this one. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit stronger, a little bit more peppery. So the light coating of the other is already on. And I'll just go a little bit heavier than that with this one. As you can see, it's a lot more coarse. You don't want to overdo it, but you want the flavor to be there. You want that salt and that pepper. And you want to season all the way around. Alright, so from here, you can refrigerate that overnight. You can let it sit out for an hour to get to room temperature. You could season it right away and throw it on the grill. I don't have a preference. It's all just how much time I have for the day and what I want to do with it. This particular day, I'm going to season it and we're going to get it on the grill pretty quick. So, because it just came out of the refrigerator, I'm going to let it sit here for about an hour to get to room temperature before I put it on the grill. Okay guys, we're going to go ahead and get the fire lit for this one. I'm using a Weber brand wax starter cube to get this charcoal going today. Put it down on the bottom of the grill. I'm going to be using Kingsford cherry wood briquettes today. First time I've used these, looking forward to it. We're doing a charcoal chimney to get things going. Filling it up. See, with these briquettes, you can actually see the chunks of wood in them. That's kind of cool. That's a good thing for me. Alright, so now light that wax cube up. The chimney goes over the top. And we're good. We'll come back in about 10 minutes. The flame should be coming out the top and it'll be ready to dump. Okay guys, we're back for about 15 minutes or so. The coals you can see are gray all the way over. They're ready to dump into the side baskets here. Weber has these side baskets that are great for, this is called indirect grilling is where I'm going. I'm not cooking directly over the coals right now. I'm cooking in between the coals. So you'll see my setup here. Try to disperse those evenly. And now I'm going to put the grill grate on. Before it gets too hot, this grill grate has the sides that open up so you can access and add more charcoal or wood chunks as you'd like. So this is indirect grilling. I'm cooking off of the coals. I'm not cooking directly on the coals. So that'll help me slow down the cook, barbecue things out a little bit longer. It's not a hot, fast sear. It's low and slower, getting it up to temperature and adding some smoke and some barbecue flavor. So the coals are good to go. Everything's ready. I got my tri-tip and I'm going to put it on right now. Before I do like to run a grill brush over real quick. I like to burn it off after I cook, but just to make sure nothing got left on there. So at this point the tri-tip is going to go on. Put it in between, not directly over. And while I've got those open, I'm going to add 2 chunks of oak wood. Oak is a traditional flavor profile could be, if you want to, used for beef and for tri-tip. Like I already have the cherry briquettes, so I'm going to add a couple chunks of wood now at this point too. So this method of cooking right now is going to be called a reverse sear. So as soon as I close this lid down, it's going to cook to my desired temperature, and then from there I'm going to sear it over the coals, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. So from here, I'm going to close the lid. You want the vent fully open, and you want the vent in the middle, not directly over the heat. So that way the heat and the smoke have to come up and out here, fully wrapping that meat in that flavor before it leaves the pit. That's what you want. I'll check back in about 15-20 minutes, check the temperature of the meat, and I'll show you that then. Alright, we're back out here. It's been about 15-20 minutes. We're going to give it a quick check. This specific pit does have a built-in thermometer, and it's sitting around 400 degrees, but to be honest, I don't really pay much attention to that. The meat's not over the fire. The meat's away from the fire. As long as I'm watching the temperatures of the meat itself, I don't really care what that says. So, having said that, let's open it up and take a look. You can see the color that it's already got from the little bit of smoke that it's got. The wood chunks are pretty much done. I'm not going to add any more. I don't want it to taste like a campfire. The thermometer I'm using is a ThermoWorks brand Thermopop. great brand. It's a great little thermometer. Works really quick. They have some really expensive models. This one's a really reasonably priced thermometer. Highly recommend. The thickest part of the roast, I'm going to stick it in there. About 95, 100 degrees. So it's about 20 degrees from being where I want it to be. So at this point, I'm just going to shut it back down. About 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes, I'll come check it again. Okay, again, about 10, maybe 15 minutes later, I'm going to check it again. Look at that color. Look at that. You see the smoke from the outside, even that mahogany-ish color. Beautiful piece of meat. Okay, about 115, 116 in the thickest part. So that for me, that's a good solid rare, and this is where I'm going to move to the next step. So what I'm going to do now, this is called reverse searing. I've taken it to a really low rare temperature off of the coals, but now I want to get it a crust. I want to sear it. So now I'm going to take it and right over the trays where the charcoal are. And if you don't have the trays, you don't need them. It's just an extra. Just dumping your coals on either side of the grill and cooking, or one side. You can dump your coals back here and keep the meat here. All of that's fine. You don't need all those extra toys, right? Same principle, same theory. So I'm going to take that tri-tip now, and I'm going to sear it. You can hear the sizzle. You can see it smoking more. It's a little bit windy out here, so you might lose some of that, but you see what's happening. You're crisping it now. You're getting that sear to it. You're not really cooking it much. You're just getting that edge put to it. So I'll let it go there a few minutes. I'll move it to the other side. Same thing. If you wanted to take these coals and dump them out, put them in the center, whatever, the theory's the same. Just let that meat sit on that hot section for a few minutes on each side. Alright, so now that you can see the color change there, it's got those nice sear grill marks to it. That really changes the flavor of the rub. Makes it look a lot better. So real quick, I'm going to take the temperature again. About 120, 125. That's going to be a solid medium to rare. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and take it in the house. Put it back on my plate here. It's going to go in the house. It's going to sit on the counter like that for about 15 more minutes to let it rest, to let it get ready to be sliced. So let's go there now. Okay guys, here we are. The meat has rested about 10-15 minutes. Let the juices redistribute into the meat, and we're ready to go. The thing about tri-tip is there's the way the protein is, that there's different grain, let me show you. Okay, so on the back side here you can see the grains of meat running this way and this side of the meat, but this side it's running like this, right? So if you just cut it from one side to the other, you're going to be cutting with the grain or at a bad angle. With all meats, you want to cut against the grain as much as you can, as often as you can. So with tri-tip, the way I like to do it is I like to start by cutting it in half first. Then you can take it and making sure that the grain is running. It's running this direction now. Then you can start slicing it from right here. just like that. So let me get to some slices here. Now you can see just a little bit of a smoke ring on the edges, just a little bit. I wasn't trying to go crazy with the smoke flavor. Again, with the cherry briquettes and the couple of oak wood chunks, that's all it really needs. So then this side, you just flip it over. Again, the grains go in that direction, and you just start slicing. This side's, because it's a little bit flatter, it's not quite as thick. It gets more to the solid medium, almost pushing to well, but that's fine. This side would be a little bit more on the rare side, especially when you get into the heart of it right here. I prefer rare, and so I'm cooking to 115 and then searing to 120, 125 internal temperature. By the time it rests, that's where you're at. That's what you get. If you want to go completely well done, I'm against that personally, but 130 range, that's about where you're going to be. I would prefer to cook it rare, and if there's the one or two people in your family that want it to be more well done, you can always throw it back on the hot grill for just a second. But I mean, to me, that's a perfect doneness right there. So I'm going to finish slicing that out, and then it'll be time to eat. This was a beef tri-tip. Again, these are the seasonings I used right here. Nothing fancy. It's all in how you do it. Okay guys, thanks for checking in with us this time. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, give me some more suggestions as to what you'd like to see me cook. And I'll make this a regular part of the series. Thanks guys.